And to be honest, I never managed to develop an LLM for companies which bring real value for customers. There was never any customers at the end of it. If there were customers, they were not happy about the result. Build your experience with the experience, like right way. Like it's okay to work for free, extra, but you need to tell everybody that you become a freelancer. It's so important to first build, get experience, talk to the world as much as possible, even without looking to anything. Just talk. You find an issue, you find a problem that your potential customers are, and solve it the easiest way possible, and you get the feedback and you improve.
So for people who don't know you, can you maybe introduce yourself and what kind of projects you've been working on for the past 3 years?
First of all, thanks for inviting me. So yeah, I'm Jeremy. I've been doing machine learning and freelancing in machine learning for now almost 3 years, or now 3 years. Haven't done that for all my life. I'm 31 years old, and before entering IT, actually, I was an engineer, like a mechanical engineer in France. Long story short, I did some engineering and experiences and a PhD in physics. Heat transfers in fluid mechanics was very interesting. And November 2021, after getting my PhD, I just decided to live wherever I wanted in the world. So I wanted to become a digital nomad. And I was like, okay, I need a job to become a digital nomad. Oh, I checked data science. Data science, I can answer some of the interview questions. I was like, okay, let's go into it. And I give myself 1 year to succeed in data science. And it's so funny because I took a one-way ticket to Budapest, from France to Budapest, started learning data science, machine learning, software engineering, Python. And after 5 months, I got my first experience in Prague. So I was traveling a bit from France to Budapest, Budapest to Prague. And the story began in this company called Creative Doc, located in Prague. Beautiful space. Discovered the IT universe and I loved it. And but actually that was so hard, like for someone just entering the field. Literally, I thought like every week I would be fired, but I did actually 1 year with them. I didn't mention, but you probably mentioned it during the introduction. I was doing so digital nomadis, data science, but also freelancing because I was like, yeah, why not doing freelancing? 1 year with Creative Doc, and then I decided to leave them because I wanted to come back to freelancing because I was more contractor with them. I was like, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. So 2023, ChatGPT, la la. And then and then a journey into, I don't know, like from data science to natural language processing, from natural language processing to machine learning engineer, cloud development and software development. And I'm afraid of meeting Kubernetes, to be honest. I haven't met Kubernetes yet, and but it's
I
on this
did.
journey.
I did, man. It sucks. It sucks. Like try to avoid it as much as possible. It's like the last resort should be
Yeah,
Kubernetes,
this is the
especially
last
like
boss.
yeah. But sometimes you need it, especially if you want more control and you have like a more complex setup. Usually, like in big corporates, everybody's just on it, so it's inevitable, unfortunately. But there's some people building some cool solutions to avoid it. So fingers crossed. Maybe one day we don't need to use it anymore. That would be awesome. How did you come to entrepreneurship? Did you decide, okay, I want to leave France, go to Prague out of nowhere, or something happened? How did you just switch and decide to do digital nomad?
Actually, digital nomad was like my way of living. I wanted to. The problem is when you are an engineer, like I was a research engineer, and for heavy industries like glass industry, EDF, which is the electrical supplier in France, Saint-Gobain, or glass producer. And so when you're a research engineer in France or a research engineer, you need to go where the laboratories are or where the industry. And usually it's never in big cities like Prague or Berlin. It's usually in the countryside, lost in the middle of Germany or in the middle of France. I was like, I don't want to spend my life like 20 years in the industry, like living in the countryside, meeting, I don't know, 100 people max. I just want to be able to live wherever I want. And if I want to live in New York with the price of New York, I want to live in New York, or I don't know, like Europe or Africa or whatever. The first reason why I decided to become digital nomad, and but also you ask why entrepreneurship. I think I'm always very interested in entrepreneurship. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I read a lot of books. The first book that led me into entrepreneurship, I think that was Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Yes,
and
yes, classic. Yeah.
yeah, very very classical. Now I disagree with everything it said, like it says the book, but like to enter this field of entrepreneurship, oh no, you can actually make money. And I'm like, okay, and then I started to to discover more and more books about the entrepreneurship. But I don't know, I was always inspired by entrepreneurs, like indie hackers also, building your own products without any funding, or this BS startup funding. So just no, you find an issue, you find a problem that your potential customers have, and solve it the easiest way possible, and you get the feedback and you improve. And it's very funny because nowadays, like with the machine learning or product development, or yeah, product development is so important to develop a product, not because it's fancy or because you like the technology, but more because, okay, how do I solve the my customers or users issue the fastest and the easiest? And actually, I'm half an entrepreneur, I would say, but I use entrepreneur in my daily work. Different.
Hmm. That's really, really cool. I have a very, very impressive background. And correct me if I misheard, but the first job you got as a data science was already like a freelance contractor work. So it wasn't like a full-time employment. I mean, that's quite remarkable because I know the people try to enter the field by doing, I don't know, some internships or getting a full-time job right after masters or whatever, after spending so many time learning at university to get the job. But to hear that you were able to do this simply by like self-learning and then getting the actual job, that's, I would say that's quite remarkable.
I actually have a funny story about that. Like exactly what you said. That was my past. What I wanted is first the degree. I got all the degree you can have in France. Literally, like I'm a degree guy. Like the double diploma in engineering and research. Then I got the PhD. So in France, my mom loves me for for this reason. Like I got the degree and the
you're
degree.
you're the degree boy, yeah, yeah.
And then when I ended my PhD, I was like, I no more degree. It's actually it's not useless, but I don't want to go through the degrees anymore. I'm like, I want to enter a new field, no more degree, especially data science or everything related to software engineering. You can learn everything online. And I was like, no more degree. And I take the hard path. And actually, it's not the hardest. It's like just the quickest. But yeah, no, it's hard, but in a different way. And the funny thing is, say about yeah, doing one internship or two internships. I give myself 1 year. I have money thanks to my 5 years as an engineer and PhD. And I was like, okay, I will work for free. I don't care. I will have the freelancer mindset, and I will, I want to work in Montreal, in Canada. So I will reach out to people in Montreal, like a company, startup, etc. I say, total honesty, I would be, okay, I'm entering data science and I know how to do stuff. I got a PhD, I got this background, and I want to help for free. It's okay. So I was ready to work for free or to do internship even for free. I didn't, like, I gave myself 1 year. And to accompany me in this journey, I got a coach to career transition, career switching. And he had 20 years experience in the IT industry. I told him my past, my plan. And he told me, you want to do an internship? No, do freelancing. I'm like, what? Yeah, go on LinkedIn, post you become a freelancer after 3 months of learning data science, and say, I become freelancer in data science. I'm available because I just entered the field. I'm available right away for a negotiable price or whatever, and build your experience with the experience, not the like right way. Like it's okay to work for free extra, but you need to tell everybody that you become a freelancer. And actually, I was like, okay, so from the I don't know 1 year internships to freelancer right away, and actually that was the good move, even in terms of money and of revenues. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it.
And after you posted, did you get your first clients through LinkedIn posts? Like because you posted I'm open to network and then all of a sudden everybody want to give you cash? Is that like what actually happened or
Actually, I got two not two gigs, but two. prospects, and but it didn't lead to anywhere because of my experience, of course. No, I got my first experience, luckily, because I was looking for jobs as an employee, and I was actually open to becoming a full-time employee or freelancer. Actually, freelancing was not the end of the journey. For me, it was just a way to get experience. I really didn't care about internship, freelancing, or being a full-time. And I got this job by applying to a company. So created up. Welcome to the jungle, which is maybe you heard about it. A- so it's a job platform. I think it's French, but it's European, and it's a job platform. And actually, it wasn't because I was a freelancer that I got this job. It was because they were looking for contractors. And it's very common actually in Prague or in Czech Republic to hire contractors. It was freelancing, but it was like a long-term contract.
Mm-hmm. And I heard Prague is like the safe haven for contractors regarding like taxes and I'm not sure if you like pay your taxes and stuff in Prague, but I heard like it's a really good place. And I was also considering moving there to be honest, because I don't know if you heard, but Germany love their taxes and it kind of sucks, especially with the bureaucracy and everything. It's yeah. In Germany, it's really good to be employed. Like you live in heaven if you have a nice stable job. The moment you want to step outside to do maybe something more because I don't know something you have a niche to do more and to get a little bit more of like the business aspect, getting clients, this ups and downs because it's super exciting, you know, like when you chase clients and you have like a one-on-one, like an intro call, you don't know if it's gonna go well or not. I find the whole process like super energizing. Although sometimes it could lead to like disappointments, but at least you don't have this monotone as like you as you have in like a normal employment. And don't get me wrong, I still have like my full time job. It's not like I'm talking as if like I have hundreds of clients, but hopefully one day. And I started small, same as you. I like what you said that you said you showed the world that you're ready to do the work. Like you just put it out there, like on LinkedIn or somewhere, like I am available to do this work because this is the thing that most people forget to do. Everybody think like, oh, like where do I start? Where do I start? And I keep telling people like start from your closest friends and family. Like although it might sound so silly because maybe my friends and family never touch like data, you know, like they don't even know what data science is. But I started telling everybody I know. Maybe like this is again like a little story how I got my first client. I told everybody I know that guys, like I'm now offering data science freelancing. That if you know or you heard, because also most of my friends work in tech, you know, so maybe somebody heard about someone that this could be a potential client. And funny enough, it came through a colleague who just left my current company that was also working for another client. And he was like, hey, do they need someone? Would you like to join? I was like, yeah, let's go. And that's like the best clients because like the interview process was so smooth. The guys were just like so warm that they just need me. And like also selling yourself is no longer a tough thing to do because these guys already warmed up by the connection who been like telling nice words about you. So that's what I would say like the first step. Did you try like platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, like all these other freelancing platforms?
Actually, yes. Just continue what you are saying is like so important. I'm totally agree in that. It's so important to first build, like get experience, but talk to the world as much as possible, even without looking into anything. Just talk. And when I say talk, it's like share, like building public, the famous building public project. Talk to people in the same field. I reached out to so many IT guys or machine learning engineers. Actually, I reached out a girl working in Montreal. She was working in Ubisoft and I wanted to join Ubisoft. I was like, what do you do to work at Ubisoft? And she said, NLP machine learning engineer. I'm like, okay, now I'm an NLP machine learning engineer. and just because I reached out to people, wrote articles, and because I wrote articles, people were coming to me. Jobs too, but it's like a novel process. And like yourself, maybe you reach out to an IT guy, which is your friend or not, and then they need someone, and you just on top of the mind, and it's just enough. And I'm sorry, I forgot the initial question.
The Upwork and Fiverr, whether you tried these platforms.
So actually, I tried. Well, it's very funny because I tried. Personally, I don't like it because how can I say? I can find my gigs or my prospects, my clients on my side. I use LinkedIn. I use Medium. I use networking just by reaching out to people and just asking what they do, how they do it, just like a bit just a bit of the time, actually, like you do with the podcast, actually. And but I don't really like Upwork or kind of stuff because every time you need to fill your profile and stuff like that. But I've been on a freelancing platform called Malt, which is a French freelancing platform, and now I think it's a leader in Europe. And I've been there since the beginning, of course, because I had to be there. And and it's so funny because I can be honest, my rate on Malt was at 500 euros a day. Nothing for 2 years and 2 years, nothing. And then I decided, okay, you know what, 750 euros a day, like like that. No reason. Like, well, I got it. And I got 2 or 3 calls in like 2 weeks. And actually, open source reach out to me. I don't know how, but through Mac, through this platform that that was useless till now. And actually, I love Mac, but I don't use it. But I don't know. Like I think I have the reason, like the explanation behind it is more like the psychological price. And I didn't work at 750. We negotiated at the end, but that was I don't know. That was the end of yeah. That was an opportunity. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Because they do say also like the type of clients you attract with that price, like usually also like smaller ticket clients, like let's say, I don't know, on Upwork, there's some crazy stuff. Like they are actually posting some crazy projects for like maybe $500 that needs maybe a month of work. And then they actually get proposals. It just makes me wonder, like, working with clients like that is just going to be like really frustrating because I know they will be micromanaging and maybe they don't even have the budget to actually be lenient with, like, maybe the deadline was not reached or something like that. They're going to be just so stressful to work with. And sometimes it's, even if you get like less requests, funny enough, in your case, you got more requests. So that's actually like something we need to investigate what happened. But usually the case, like you're getting maybe 10 requests per day for a certain rate, you raise it up by like, I don't know, 50%, you get maybe less the number of clients, but then you get like maybe a higher quality clients. And that's the kind of goal we want to reach. But of course, you need to build up on use cases, build up on case studies and referrals. Maybe can you walk us through, did you manage to write a lot of like use cases, for example, case studies? So after each time you successfully finished a project, did you write a case study and add it to your website? Was that actually helpful tip to get maybe more clients and have credibility?
First of all, yes. Every time I had a very nice use case, I try to share a lot about it. But actually, probably I do it wrong or I do it not often enough. But my use cases or what I can do for clients didn't get me a lot of traction or let's say a lot of gigs. I feel I got two, let's say medium. I got 2 articles that got me a lot of traction, people, clients, CEOs, or whatever. The GPT-3.5 for RAG, but in March 2023 or February 2023. So before the all the hype, and because I was part of this company in Prague, and we were exploring, and I was like, oh, it's funny, it could be so nice to. I got a project where we delivered the complete solution to this company, and they have the documentation. Every time they come back to the QA developers or QA people, and they ask a lot of questions, like even if it's already in the documentation. I was like, yeah, it could be so nice to use the GPT-3 and talk to the documentation that you just and actually, I wrote about it, and I discovered Longchain. I discovered so I used GPT-3. I did it, and actually, a few couple of months later, it was like a thing. Longchain became a. It was already a thing, but like very hyped. The RAG became a thing, and actually, because of this article, I got a lot of prospects who wanted to build the same kind of solution like the RAG. So for the RAG, definitely. And then I got another article, and so funny. But after working with 2 or 3 companies to implement RAG, I got very bad experience with this kind of mission, because we can talk about it later, but because of the expectation of the AI, like you expect,
Yes.
you
Yes.
hire a guy and you say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, develop my RAG. And then I say, okay, but I need a data engineer. You know what I mean? And they have only one data engineer, it's fully booked. And I'm like, okay, but so I need access. And I wrote an article about why AI is doomed to fail. And I wrote these three experiences with these three companies that I don't mention. And I'm like, I got everything. I listened to one of your podcasts. And I got oh, do your magic.
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay, I got okay. Your feature is okay. Your features in fraud, good. Like your features with AI, like and oh, can you develop another one? I say, yeah, but the feature I developed is just a POC. I just prompt a bit and that's it. But I don't know about the feedback and stuff like that. So I need to iterate about it. Oh, we don't have time. Like feature number 7. Okay, but and actually like yeah. And so I wrote an article about this, and I got that was my most popular article, and I got so many calls, and it's so funny because I was criticizing, like I can say, this kind of managers or want AI without knowing what is really AI, which is machine learning, data engineering, data, and I got so many calls from this exact same people, and I don't mention any name, but I feel like even if I mention it during your podcast, nobody is concerned because it's like it's always someone else. And it's so funny because this article like brought me so many opportunities that I actually declined because I didn't want to produce it. And so yeah, two use cases that actually attracted a lot of people, but not the use cases I would like to tackle.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. That's reverse psychology at its best. You like kind of insult them, and then they come running. We want to work with you. But your messaging seemed to resonate with a lot of people because it's I think it's a frustration that a lot of data scientists and maybe machine learning professionals have to go with, especially with this massive expectation. And now we see stuff that are even, yeah, I keep repeating this. Even back then at data science, they used to say, do your magic. That was only data science. And now with ChatGPT, it's just like the expectation is like up the roof. And if you say this doesn't work, like they don't believe you. They say like, oh, but ChatGPT said it does work. And I'm like, okay, then build it yourself. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want from me?
It's even
Yeah.
worse because you need performance, like the data and stuff, like having a high accuracy, precision recall, whatever. But also you need like the infrastructure to have instant response. Instant response. So you need a very low latency for everything. So high performance, high latency, 2 weeks. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Now, like, yeah, now with the whole API game, it seems to be like maybe, I don't know, possible, but I know if you want to put open source models, like you need GPUs, you need like infrastructure, you need engineering, you need security. I just did an episode on LLM security, fun enough, with with the CEO of a prompt security company, and we just went through all the possible ways that you can hack ChatGPTs. It's a very fun episode, so make sure like to watch it later. It's Yeah, it was a very fun and scary because now I transitioned into engineering, so now I have to deal with security and make sure I build secure systems for whatever I work for. And just knowing that they are so easily hacked by like simple text and they're not so easily detectable, these kind of like tricks. Like SQL injection, you can put like some regex pattern to detect, and it's a solved problem. Like it's no longer a problem that exists. But attacks with natural language, this is now the new challenge. Like, and it's scary. Like even that guy who was on the forefront of defense said like, okay, we deal with stuff every day that makes us feel very overwhelmed how fast this whole industry is going. So we'll see. Very, very interesting. I wanted to also maybe ask you your opinion about freelancing in general. So you said like the best way to start, asking people around you, write maybe some content. How important for you was maybe building a personal brand? Because I know people, the moment they want to do something like a business, freelancing, the first thing they think, oh, this is what I need to do is I need to write content or do a podcast or whatever manifestation of this content is. For your personal career, how much did you think content was able to contribute to your success?
To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed by that, but the content didn't really work for me or haven't worked for me yet. Every time I do an interview with the company I would like to work with, I'm not Jeremy Arancio coming as the NLP guy who posts LinkedIn content and Medium and is followed by whatever. No, it's like I'm just an applicant. Yeah, an applicant like everybody else. I'm like, come on. I've been doing that for 3 years. Like, give me some reward or whatever about people or clients reaching out to me. Usually, clients reach out to me when I post content a lot, which I haven't been doing like recently because of the project I was doing. It's not because you get reached out a lot that the projects are great, you know. And maybe the money is here, but the projects is like, no, I did it already. I know I almost burned out the last time. I don't want to repeat that again. So actually, the content haven't helped me a lot on the freelancing part, but I feel the content creation is still the best thing that ever happened to me. Why? Because it's like, okay, but you don't have any kind of reward from your content, but you still like content. I feel like content creation is a way to have an identity on internet and in the world, literally. Because if you don't write online or if you don't share anything online, you simply don't exist to nobody. And writing content actually helped me so much to clarify my ideas by writing, but also to reach out to people and get feedback directly from them. The journey in data science machine is actually could be super lonely and you can learn literally anything because of YouTube, because of books. But actually, when you get directly feedback from people who are actually machine learning engineers with 5 years experience or even more, or who are freelancers, you're like, okay, so they did mistakes that I don't have to reproduce, you know. And writing content helped me to, I don't know, just to be someone on LinkedIn, just to reach out to people. I could have like 10 followers. I wouldn't mind. I would just write for myself and write people just to ask them a question. So this is in short and mid-term, but in long term, for me, content creation is like a stock market. Stock market, you receive nothing until 20 years. For me, content creation, you receive nothing the 3/5 for first years. But when you got enough people knowing you, just knowing you, like just at the top of the mind, you can literally do whatever you want. Why? Because there is an expression called first build a community, then build whatever you want. And because when you have this distribution channel, let's call him what it is, it's a distribution channel. Not only people will love to pay for it, for the distribution channel, because with one post, one article, whatever, you can reach, I don't know, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people in one post. Massive. Like now imagine if you want clients, so you increase your probability to get clients and very good quality clients. And also what if you want to sell a product, what if you want to sell a course, coaching, whatever. It's hard to do when you have no branding, you know. But when you have a brand, it's way easier. And it comes after posting a lot and regular.
Hmm. I totally agree. It was a very interesting analogy to think of it as stock market, because a lot of people post maybe a couple posts a month and then they see like, okay, 4 people saw it and then they stop. I think of it like the gym. Nobody worked out so hard in 2 weeks and then they were like, oh fuck, I see results, you know? Like it was always like hard work, hard work, hard work. 6 months, nobody noticed that you went to the gym. Maybe after a year, people say like, oh yeah, you look good. And I'm like, yeah, thank, I've been working out for a year. I think the same thing about content, business, everything. It's very slow, and if you don't really enjoy it, it's not gonna last. I started with Medium. I started writing articles. Some articles went like really good, reached like 50K people. I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like I don't even know more than 100 people in my life, you know, like it's wild. It was also around the time where LLMs, and funny enough, I wrote an article also about RAG without knowing that this was RAG, and I called it fine tuning ChatGPT on your data, and people grilled me. People were saying like, "No, this is RAG," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what RAG means." But then I learned the hard way. It was really fun, the process, but I think I fell into the validation hellhole where you are writing content for the sake of impressions, for the sake of views. I was just following the wrong things. and it wasn't sustainable. It was just like, oh, when am I going to post the next thing and the next thing? I had no plans, and then it fell off. I stopped writing. It was just like, okay, this is not for me. Now I switched to the next shiny thing, which is podcasting. We'll see how this works. So far, so good. Some part of it is like very not nice, like editing and stuff. It just takes so much time, and not only editing, reaching out to people. I luckily so far it's been easy to get smart people like yourself. But in the future, maybe when I run out of everybody I know and everybody in my LinkedIn, I need to, I don't know, start posting on the street. Like, would you like to be on a podcast? But that's a problem for the future. That's the fun thing about it. You don't need to think so far ahead. It's like a car with lights. You just need to think, what is the next 2 maybe months, and then you're gonna figure it out 2 months later. What's the next 2 months? How tough was it for you to do freelancing with clients that could terminate the contract within, I don't know what was the termination period, but I assume maybe like a month, and then you have basically no job and you need to find a new client?
No, it
Was
was
this tough?
like a couple of days. I
Oh, a
got
couple of
yeah,
oh god.
one client ended the contract, and well, in the next day I was out. And actually, it was fine. It was like, for me, this is something I signed when I start a contract. It's like, I'm a guy. I come with an expertise. I will do my best, and as soon as my job is over, or you don't appreciate the work, or you don't, yeah, whatever. Like, as soon as the project you think is over, okay, you just come. Personally, I'm fine with that. For me, it comes with the price, and this is why you see so many freelancers, like super high paid freelancers, and you instantly compare it to full time employee. But to be honest, even harder, or in terms of revenue, if you take the average, or the average over the year, like, you earn the same salary, at least in the mid level, same position, freelancer, full time employee. Just because for the freelancing, for full time position, it would last 12 months, let's say 11 months. But no, you paid the vacation, so 12 months. And freelancing, like, okay, you're gonna have a what, 6 months, but better pays, but actually at the end of the day, you need to do so many things. But I think that freelancing, like, being ending on a contract like that, is part of the dream.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just part of the process. You sign it. When you sign the contract, like it's like you're a problem solver. You get in. The moment you're not gonna get needed, you're gonna be out, which is also okay. Like it's because right now, for example, in these big corporates, the problem that I frequently see is the job is done. Like, let's say you need to build a recommendation engine, for example, and you build one and it's working, and it's been working for a year, and now there's no new ideas because maybe the corporate takes some time to build new initiatives, blah blah blah. So you're sitting there maintaining, maybe building, adding new little features, incremental changes, but nothing that really fuel your heart, like building something from the scratch, and POC, and checking if it's work. This is the fun stuff. Every data scientist, every machine learning engineer want to do this kind of work. So the problem is people get like uninspired, unmotivated, because all what they do is like small incremental changes. You need to talk to so many people if you want to add a small feature. So I do like that. Like, if even with the ups and downs, you kind of have financial security to know, like, okay, I can survive until I find a new client, and have a very systematic way to finding clients, then I guess it's the right thing for you to do.
What I want to add is, like, it's super easy to be, let's say, fired, or to end the project. You don't have to be fired, just thanks. Uh, but it's also because you are a freelancer operator, it's also super easy to hire you. And this is one of the main advantage, like, what I like to say to when I prospect, okay, I come with this price, let's say 500 euros a day. Okay, it's maybe a lot of money for you. Depends, actually, because sometimes it's not at all. I met some freelancers at 1,000 euros a day, even more. And I'm like, okay, I might be expensive, but you know what? Let's try 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Let's say you want to reduce my rate at 300. I'm like, you know what? Let's do 3 weeks at 500. And if you don't like working with me, or if you don't find any value in my thing, you
We
just
can stop.
yeah, we can stop, and that's.
Mhm. That's a good strategy. That's a good way to get like one foot in the door, and then it's like also like a low cost way. I mean, not so low cost, but And like an easy way for them to test whether like you are worth the money, and then also you need to evaluate them, because sometimes like it's not just one way street, you know. You both have to find this chemistry that you like working with each other. And yeah, like proposing something like that might be super useful.
Also, it might work because I'm thinking about it, but it might work only if you have already a kind of a brand, or if they reach out to you directly, because like if you're nobody and you'd say, okay, but I can work to three weeks, 3 weeks is already a lot of money. So of course, if you don't have any leverage, super hard. So if they come already for you, and it happens a lot, and then they try to negotiate, which is okay, but this is a way. But when you reach out to them and say, this is my price, I'm unnegotiable, I can, they say, ah.
Interesting. You mentioned in the beginning of the podcast that you're not a big fan of LLMs after been working with them in production. Maybe I would like to shift the direction into how was your experience deploying LLMs into like real life scenarios?
In terms of experience with LLMs, what I did is one POC of several POCs within the company about, RAG for HR, RAG for sales guys, RAG for anything else. You put a RAG or something. Let's talk about the experience first. I did that first with this company. We developed a lot of POCs, and actually it helped the company to switch a bit into AI. And because I was the beginning, and we had to prove, the AI team had to prove that this is a valuable solution that we can propose them. And then you can sell it to your client, because the company was actually an agency. The second time was a RAG for, let's say, you have a guest house, you're owner of a guest house, like NBD or stuff like that, and you want to answer like your guest questions. So is there any oven and stuff like that? So you can generate answer based on your house or profile information. And the last one wasn't a RAG, that was like a kind of a survey, but using AI. So the AI interview people within the company, or within anything. Well, let's say within the company, you ask the AI, like say you're manager of this company. In this company, you have you want to do a survey about this topic. The AI would interview people, asking 6 questions, synthesize per person the interview, and then synthesize everything, like all the interviews for the managers. This one was actually a startup, like just funded, and they were seeking funding, and I was like a founder, software developer or AI developer. And my experience with that was a lot of POCs. When you try to go over the POC, it's actually super hard. It's so amazing because RAG, everybody talks about RAG, but it's actually super hard to develop, because you need so many people. You don't need a prompt engineer. Prompt engineering is almost the easiest part. Actually, you don't need a prompt engineer. You just need a prompt, whatever it is, an API, whatever it is, and that nowadays, no matter what, because at the beginning, you had only OpenAI, but you need data engineering. You need infrastructure, how to handle the data, how to send the data to the LLM and then retrieve it, and it's actually a super hard issue. And to be honest, I never managed to develop an LLM for companies which bring real value for customers. There was never any customers at the end of it. If there were customers, they were not happy about the result, about the survey, like asking these users, like, what do you think about the AI? And they were like sending response like, please stop with the survey. Like
I
every
want
time
to
I
go
said,
home.
and I just want to answer the guest and stuff. And so this is my point of view on LLMs in production is like, first, it requires all the instance of the company, technical people, but also the stakeholders like the manager, the project designer, whatever. And because it's so hard, just because first it's not a machine learning issue, but it's an AI issue, and AI with machine learning is already hard. But now you give the opportunity to users to put anything they want. They control the AI in some. And I'm like, so I need to ensure security, performance, even if the guy, the users prompt, I don't know, 3 words, like, I don't know, like price, Airbnb, Toulouse. And I'm like, it's so hard. Come on, like with machine learning features that does only one task, like price prediction, whatever, it's already very, very hard. But now you even harder because the users is responsible of its own performance or like the performance of the model. And just for this reason, it's just super hard. And you talked about it with the I don't remember her name, but the last episode, 10th episode, and evaluating LLM in production. Actually, first you need to evaluate your solution before developing any solution. You need to find a way to evaluate the solution. And if you cannot, man, it's too hard. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying resonates with me a lot, and that's I spoke with this with Chinar. She developed a company to exactly try to solve this problem because it's a very complex problem. I feel very conflicted about these systems because, as you said, we have so limited control. Like, you give a small text input, and then the users, as you said, are responsible for the quality of what they retrieve. And also, you need good data engineers to put in the right data, and you need security. Like, it's super complicated. But you know what? Even before we talk about the technical challenges, like, what maybe sometimes frustrated me is the moment people heard about RAG, everybody got super excited and they just wanted to add it everywhere, And for example, in that Airbnb use case, or like, it's not Airbnb, it's like similar. Let's say Airbnb wants to build a chatbot. You can already see all the information in the description. Why do you need a chatbot to chat with it, right? How did you talk to the client that they came to you with this proposal and say, like, okay, we need also a way to answer? Maybe there's stuff that are already not included in the description, and then the RAG would also not know what to answer. If it's, let's say, like, I always ask, whenever I go to Airbnbs, I love to go and have places that have fireplace. That's already like a requirement for me. Like, is there a fireplace? And like, I sometimes message the host, like, can you provide us some wood? Because I love to sit around the fire. And sometimes it's not written like extra. So I have to message. So, okay, I see if the chatbot can answer this question, but then maybe Airbnb, whoever would think like, okay, the RAG can already answer, but if this information is not in the database, the RAG would not be able to answer. So did you encounter such an unrealistic demands by clients?
actually, I forgot about it, but I very like this project. It was actually, I got a request by this startup, and they wanted to connect incubators. So I don't know why connect the famous
Y Combinator, yeah, what is it
yeah,
called?
yeah,
Let's,
yeah, exactly,
yeah,
or Station Life in France or whatever.
let's go.
And
Yeah,
they
Y
wanted to
Combinator.
connect all the incubators in the world to startup founders. Like that, your startup founders, you decide to create this startup, and okay, let's connect this incubators is what you need. Like they exactly respect your criteria and your field, your domain, etc. And and so they came to me and was like, we would like to develop this feature. We saw that you post content about LLMs because we tried to prompt ChatGPT, GPT 3.5, like the data about the incubators and the data about a new owner, no, a new startup founders, and to give out of the 5 incubators or 10 incubators that you can fit into the prompt with that data, which startup founders to which incubators. Do you see the trick? Like, okay, so you use a text generation model to do recommendation system or search. They were super nice, and I was like, "Man, you know that you can do better without any use of AI or LLM, but even AI, And I'm like, okay, you know what? You want this feature? Let me build it. Then give me 3 weeks. I think in 3 weeks I can do stuff. It will cost 5,000 euros, which is actually nothing. But and they say, oh, we have 5,000 euros. I say, okay, yeah, well, and actually, I built a Python API with Docker and unit tests and stuff like that, just doing search using criteria and a bit of embedding for just the data that wasn't, let's say, categorizable, and just do embedding search. And I delivered them the feature. And actually, that was my most successful project. The project I very like doing in 2023 and among this LLM hype. And they came to me with LLM solution. And I'm like, no, actually, first of all, don't come to me with an LLM solution or back solution. Which means don't come to me with what you want to develop. Just tell me your problem and I will manage it. And I will say, okay, this is it. And actually behind you have regex, you have a rule base, and actually you can do this. But that was so funny because what I discovered is I'm still a freelancer, I'm still a consultant, and sometimes I'm a bit too in the techies, IT, machine learning part. I'm like, when I get reached out, I want my client to know what is machine learning, what is AI, what they expect. And actually, I figured out recently that now that actually when they reach out to me, they actually have a problem. The only thing that they can see right now on social media is AI and LLMs, stuff like that. Actually, we as machine learning engineers know what you can and what you cannot do. And actually, this is how you head them. I got a lot of proposition for to build a solution, but what I should do as a freelancer or consultant or even machine engineer, full-time employee, whatever. Let me ask you some questions, figure out exactly what is the problem and solve the problem without AI. And if you need AI just because your fundings or your VCs or your managers need AI, I'm sorry, I can help you with that. So I feel like it's a lot of LLMs requirement or a real problem that can be solved with or without machine.
Hmm. Yes, again, I I totally agree with what you're saying, which is something also I try to preach through this channel. Like to when people reach out to you with a problem, hopefully they don't also reach out with a solution or what they think is the solution. But if that's the case, like don't just build the thing for the sake of building because that really maybe hurts your reputation. Or if you know like there's a cheaper way, it's actually more beneficial to tell them like, oh, that's like really smart. I'm really excited that you try to solve this yourself. There's maybe a cheaper way. You don't need to pay so much for OpenAI. We can do this with like a simple bird or whatever model from Hugging Face, and then they would really appreciate you. So like it's also very interesting to tell the people like don't shy away from being the consultant. I feel like nowadays with ChatGPT, it became so much easier to conceptualize a solution about machine learning because you can just prompt the ChatGPT and ask it like, "Oh, how can I solve this?" Blah blah blah. But I agree with you. Like sometimes now I have friends in incubators and trying to build like some companies. It sometimes, especially now, there's a pressure that you need to add AI, whether it makes sense or not, just so you can get the funding. And this is maybe a beginning of a bubble. Like this is not how things should be, you know? Like you shouldn't add expensive tools just for the sake of it, just to get funding. And I've been now getting calls from these friends saying like, "Oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but like, do you really need this? Like, what value is this adding to the end user? Because these costs for OpenAI, you need to probably put them on the user at some point. And if you're not really providing that much value, then maybe just OpenAI and ChatGPT is already doing a lot of really cool stuff." But I think it's now currently the hype, so maybe it will go down a little bit and people realize the limitations of it. Similar to like machine learning, it was also like, oh, you can do so many things with deep learning, and then people realize, okay, no, deep learning can solve certain things, but not other things. So this
But
is.
it's I feel we are mid bubble or at the end of the bubble because now I don't think the bubble will pop soon. I mean, it could, like even tomorrow. We need something to pop the bubble, like OpenAI that fails. Let's say OpenAI close because maybe like they don't make a lot of money. The bubble will pop. Everything AI related will be seen as bad. Even today, every time you see AI, now it's like okay, actually it's a GPT code, it's a GPT wrapper. Like it's evil already. You see and for people usually I would say don't touch AI, like literally because it's just a hype. Just solve a problem and maybe machine learning or maybe LLM because LLM is like a under a natural language processing. At the end of the day, LLM is just text generation and you have so many things. And stay away from AI and just build solutions right away that are easier but still super complex to develop in production. And let me tell you just an example. And this is an example for me that I was so happy to work for OpenFacts because finally, after let's say 5 months of prospection, and people coming for AI, LLMs, stuff like that. There is an issue with the list of ingredients, spell check or typos. So long story short, whenever a contributor add a picture of the product, like the product, he take a picture also of the list of ingredients behind the product or the packaging, and the OCR from whatever extract the text. But sometimes OCR like the packaging could be folded or curved and stuff like that. So sometimes the OCR is wrong, and so we want to develop a model or a solution to correct this ingredients list of ingredients. First thing first was not to jump into LLMs. It was to build the guidelines. What is a typo? What is not a typo? Should we correct, I don't know, a percentage of ingredients that was badly passed, or should we let it like that because 5% is not the same as 45%, for instance, of I don't know peanuts. And then building the evaluation metric and the evaluation data set. Like, okay, let's say I test OpenAI, let's sit on a benchmark, or regex, or Levenstein distance, or Norway. I don't remember the exact name. The Norway, like the thing to replace and stuff like that. So let's try everything. And actually, so over the process, I figured out that okay, GPT 3.5 performed better than GPT-4. So I managed to create the algorithm and to have metrics. So the precision and recall about the correctly corrected words or characters and the wrongly corrected characters. So precision and and GPT 3.5 was performing way better than any other model, even GPT Claude 3.5, GPT 4o, stuff like that. I tried some, I addressed a benchmark. And then I was like, okay, but I don't want to rely on an LLM for this specific task. This specific task, it's known in natural language processing. So let me build a model and actually use at the end Mistral 7B. I wanted to use a T5, but actually that was a wrong decision because too small. And I got the same results than GPT 3.5 in terms of performance. So you're like, okay, but actually, why not using a GPT 3.5 instead? I'm like, okay, let's forget about the cost, ownership, or whatever. GPT 3.5 doesn't exist anymore. So your best solution doesn't exist anymore. But Mistral 7B is actually still fine-tuned, still on hanging phase. You can do whatever you want with him. I developed it, I deployed it in production for prototypes using batch influences. So actually, whenever a user enter the application, it sees right away the data which is pre-processed. So it's like instant feedback, but it's not real-time inference. It's just batch function, batch inference. And so you can manage to have very good experience, ownership, cost reduction, and with an open source model that you completely own. And I feel that we gonna turn on this way just because it's becoming easier and easier to train a model, deploy a model, thanks to gameplay, thanks to AWS, it's becoming easier and easier than using an out like an external API. And and I feel like the LLM hype will disappear. What's gonna remain is all the open source work, flash attention to the LLM, the deployment, the GPUs, L4, all the technology will remain. And it, it has become easier than ever to develop your own model. This is why I'm still a natural language processing engineer and not an LLM engineer and stuff like that. It's just because you cannot solve everything with LLMs. Just find your task, your NLP task, and solve it and build the solution.
No, that's a very good advice. And moving to open source is also a good solution for like industries with high regulation, like health tech, maybe fintech. Like they have to use these open source. And I also read your article, so they could get very good results if you fine tune. So you can also go back to like fundamentals of NLP and actually get what you're trying to get without the heavy lifting of sending data to an external provider and have to deal with the whole data leakage and like this whole headache. I see people now are more interested. So whenever I write any content regarding open source, there's a lot of people who are really interested in this, especially in like, as I said, like industries that have high regulation. I feel like there's two two opinions: people who really love open source and people who like rely on APIs. In my experience so far, I know you said like they work equally good. I've seen like, for example, using OpenAI was maybe superior in many cases, but I was also using maybe small language models. I didn't really use like the really big ones because of resources, or I don't know, if you want to test something in Google Colab or also spin up like some virtual machines on GCP, you need some more engineering infrastructure to kind of lift these models. But it could be an amazing alternative for people who really value security and want to build in-house solutions. Looking at the time, man, I can talk for hours with you. This has been so much fun. We have to unfortunately end it, but this has been honestly amazing. Thank you so much for the lovely conversation. I think people learned a lot from you, and maybe if anybody want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Actually, on LinkedIn. I'm every day on LinkedIn, so reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And please, if you send a connection, how can I say? I decline so many connections, but add the text within the connection, and we'll add you for sure.
Yes, guys, put the effort into the reaching out. Don't just reach out in bulk. I think this is how I reached out to you. I think I wrote something.
Exactly.
I don't remember.
You were following me, but you were not following me, but commenting. Or I know we had some interaction on
exactly.
On LinkedIn post, maybe mine or maybe another guy on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Amazing, Jeremy. This has been amazing. I wish you a great day and wish you so much success in your career. Thank you so much for being on Data Tales.
Thank you.
Ciao. Bye bye.